and welcome to this wonderful episode of Yo Pops podcast with myself, Shean Williams, and my father.
Blessings to you.
We firstly want to wish all of the men happy Men's Health Month. We hope that you are advocating and being intentional in creating balance, contentment and peace within all atmospheres and dimensions of your life. And we want to have a conversation today and hopefully provide some practical tools. Also have some open conversation that will allow you also to be vulnerable and comfortable in listening to process, experience, and also potentially coming up with your own solutions and ways to create an environment that works for you. So firstly, in the spirit of love and care, Dad, how are you this morning?
I am good.
You are looking very summery.
Oh, thank you.
I'm loving it.
I think because the sun is shining.
It's helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you wake up this morning feeling just energized and good?
Yes, I felt great. The sun always does that.
Have you finished sulking now?
Over what?
Over our conversation a couple of moments ago?
Oh, no. I mean, it comes with experience and therefore...
What, sulking?
No. Being directed. Let me use that word.
What word? What other word would you use? I wasn't. Do you know what? Let me be honest with you. And I said this actually a couple of weeks ago. There are moments where I do feel like I am hard on you, but I also feel like, especially since my metaphorical Damascus moment, that I'm more in the process of trying to guide you to more efficiency. No, you're allowed to say if you don't agree.
Yes, no. I understand from where you're coming from. So therefore...
But even though you understand where I'm coming from, it may not be the perspective you hold, which I'm always happy to hear what your perspective is.
No, I mean, when you're in a certain place and times, you have to understand that everyone is processing at different stages, different level.
Okay.
And it is understanding that processing that helps you to deal with situation, whether it is comfortable or uncomfortable.
Okay. Do you feel like the information I gave you, though, is invariably going to be helpful? Or...
Oh, of course.
Of
course.
I don't mind a little bit of a...
Always helpful.
Because I do understand, like, for many people that don't know, my dad actually taught me how to ride a bike and a car, even when I wasn't legally allowed to drive cars. So, no, not that he was taking me on the road, but I understood the process and I maybe have taken myself on the road.
Which you did.
Of course I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't go into that today.
We could do that for another time, don't worry.
Yes.
But I understand that there would have been moments where you also would have been teaching me process. And there are moments where you would have wanted me to learn quicker. But also you had the patience to be like, okay, I understand that he's going to learn by virtue of his processing rate and experience and stuff. So that's why even in these moments, as I'm learning more about myself and trying to be more self-aware, that in my gusto and fervor with youthful experience and everything else, that I don't assume beyond the place of understanding. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And in that way we have more balance because there are things that you give me that help me to navigate the road better. And obviously there are things that sometimes I may give you that help you to see a little wider maybe. So,
yeah. I think from a father's perspective...
I couldn't help myself. I saw you waiting for it coming. I was just like, ooh.
You never stop teaching. You never stop teaching, no matter how old, achieving your children is. There's always more for them to learn or to teach, because you're so much more ahead of the game, so to speak. So it is that time when you have to exercise understanding and patience, because how people learn when they're 10 is a whole lot different than when they're...
That's very true. That's very true. Do you know what? And just to lean into that, on a more spiritual side, I now understand why Jesus was so focused on the nature and mentality of childhood. Yes. Especially in receiving and accepting and understanding, and also, Dad, more than anything, letting go. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was the letting go, and when you look at that within children, it creates, what's that thing that it's like, nothing's ever too deep, nothing's ever too high, nothing's ever too wide.
True.
But what it always is it's meant.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And that willingness to grow.
Yes.
I mean, so yeah.
Dad, I was doing a little bit of research, and the first thing I have to say is the conversation that we had about dreams. And I said this to you on the phone, and it was funny because I could hear you kind of, you were quite surprised by what I said. And I could hear you didn't know how to take the compliment. Honestly, because you have what I call your English speaking PR voice, right? When you don't know how you want to react normally to something, right? And I said to you, I was just like, Dad, the potty that you did on Tuesday, it was masterful. And you went, oh, thank you. And I was just like, firstly, who are you, Stephen? And what have you done with my father? But I have to reiterate that you were able, there's a saying that if you can't explain something complicated simply, you haven't understood it well enough yourself. And the way that you navigated through that conversation, and you gave not only insightful information, but practical tools.
Yeah.
Without forcing anybody to be like, well, this is the only way that you can hear it. And if you don't hear it this way, then
yeah.
It was such a beautiful presentation of information that first I want to say, I was really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
That was it, guys. That is the PR. I couldn't have written that any better myself. Oh, thank you.
That was a setup.
When my dad gets nervous or embarrassed or he doesn't want to take it. Oh, Dad, that was brilliant.
No, that was a setup. That's what it was.
Because I could have never.
That was a perfect setup to illustrate his point.
Oh,
that's
Dad,
what he did.
You are brilliant. So, right, cool. Good job, Dad. Let's get into today's chat. Okay,
yes.
So, it's Men's Health Month. And we know that it's usually, most people kind of recognize Men's Mental Health Month in November.
Right.
But when I did some research, I realized that June is also Men's Health Month as well. Now, I think that especially with what I've been seeing, not only in the world, but in my own personal circles, some of my business circles, I feel like there is an attack on the mental well-being of men. I feel like men have never been in such an identity crisis.
Yeah.
And I've always loved history. I had great history teachers, Nick Williams, Nicholas Kinloch, Claire Wright. And I've studied the history of the world, Dad. And I've never seen men so unstable. And I mean emotionally, spiritually, and naturally.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm very blessed because not only myself, but me and my brothers, we're very blessed because we have access to a father that embodies so much of what we'd like to become. But also, we have a relationship where we speak very openly. And it's something that obviously a lot of people speak about when they watch our interaction. So Dad, I wanted to delve a little bit into just some of your process, your development, some of your experience. And I'll ask on different levels, but also anything that you want to fire back, please do. And yeah, just speak as openly, as honestly as you want to.
Right.
The first question I wanted to ask you, Dad, can you remember the first moment or situation that happened where, to use a commonly phrased term, that you felt like you had to man up or you had to, the adolescent version of yourself was over and the true adult male version of you took over? Can you remember that point or moment?
I think I can remember perhaps at about 17 years of age.
Wow.
And there are other instances before that, but they were not as impacting as what it was at about 17, when I had to leave the family I know and migrate to the UK to be part of, to start another, to exist within another family. Namely, mother and father was in the UK.
Right.
I grew up with my grandparents, grandmother, grandfather, and other cousins, etc. So when I then had to leave, and that was myself alone going on a plane, and you have the emotion of leaving what I know and familiar with to be going into this unknown.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
And that's just not naturally as well, because you've got used to, and especially from when you spoke in previous podcasts, like you would speak about leaving and going out and hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes my grandfather needing to open the door so you can come back in. And sometimes when you're in trouble, right, you knew which cousins would cover you and which ones wouldn't. So your whole like family dynamic, Dad, was different to what you were traveling to.
Yes, very, very much. And
did you feel a sense of sadness when you were?
What you do, it was navigating between the desire for new experience, as well as leaving what you know. You know what I mean? So I felt then it requires me to, as you use the phrase, to man up. You know, one, not to show too much emotions that I am missing those around me, and have the confidence to approach the future, which was relatively unknown. So I felt that was a really strategic time in my life as a young man, where I had to, really get a grip of my personal emotion and take the bull by the horn, as it were.
Was there anything that you did upon moving to England that helped you to either settle in or would reconnect you with the home life that you had back in Jamaica? Was there any kind of practices or activities or?
No, because it was so different.
Yeah.
I mean, environmentally it was very different. Culturally, it was extremely different. So it was a whole new phase.
New world.
Literally. And you had to then begin to, I would say, have a crash course in
intensive, they call it now.
Yes. Yes,
intensive course.
Yes, I mean, in the environmental existence, existing in the environment. I mean, at that time of 17, you young and all got it all going for you. And so here you come into an environment where, as I said, you have to pick up. You're looking at me as if you expect me to. No. You want to hear some gory details.
Firstly, there is no gory details that I'm listening to. But I've got to be honest. It is the parallel worlds of what you experienced compared to what we experienced, compared to what your grandchild may experience. Does that make sense?
Very much.
And if he or she was sitting here and listening to your journey, it would feel so far removed from the world they would know. And so indeed. When we speak, there are times when I'm replaying so many moments, and it's helping me to sew moments together, and I get a deeper understanding of you. So not from I'm not trying to search come on, Dad, cry, give me some tears.
Let's look at Frank just as an example, which I think will resonate with most young men at that age, is that everybody wants to find the best girlfriend that they think they deserve. Now, when I was back in Jamaica, then your approach to that relationship was very different.
Okay.
You know what I mean? one, you didn't use resources per se. So in other words, you know, because you're coming from an
So you
environment.
can just throw money around.
Yeah, exactly.
Got
You know, you didn't have that
Got
there. So
you have to
therefore,
be creative.
yes, and I think that's the real.
Do you think that's why you talk as well as you do? No, because people come to me, Dad, I get it all the time. Oh, you've got the gift of the gab. And I'm like, what is the gift of the gab? That don't make no sense. Don't hate me because I've got a wide vocabulary or I know how to construct words.
Seriously.
But maybe I'm getting an idea
Yes,
where it came from.
It was like that. So if you were not able to articulate what is it you really feel and want to say, you see what I mean? Then the chances of you getting a girlfriend was nil.
Got you.
That is it.
Got you.
So it wasn't how much you have in your pocket. It wasn't whether you could go and get a beautiful mango and give it to
Mangoes to seal the deals.
Exactly. You know, it was the ability to be expressive. And if you listen closely to people who came from my background, even now, whenever time they speak, and especially to ladies, they are very expressive.
Got you.
You know, and I think sometimes people find it very, well, they think you are hitting on them. You know, if you say, okay, well, you know, you use certain level of expression.
And all you're doing is being cordial, which kind of tells me where the world is, Dad.
Indeed.
I've always said this to a lot of people because they're always like, oh, why, you know, for what you do, if you're in London, you could make so much. And I'm like, but London's not home. Dad, I can walk out of my house.
Yeah.
Sainsbury's is 150 meters that way. Between saying hello to Mrs. Moulton next door, Dolly, who's next door to her, out in that garden doing more than, Dad, I tell Dolly all the time, Dolly, stop. If Derek was here, he'd be telling you no.
Yes.
To then going, before I get to the roundabout, I might see Lizzie, I might see Titi, morning, you're right,
Yeah.
I might see Brandon on his way to, and then that's before I even got to Sainsbury's and I'm talking to the baristas.
Yeah.
So there's that personableness
Yeah.
where you're invested in the world around you because it's your community, right?
Yeah.
And I've never wanted to lose sight or sense of that, but there is nothing attached to that other than me just wanting to be nice and check in. And I think we live in a time and a space now where people are suspicious of kindness.
Yeah.
I'd almost say, Dad, and obviously you can lean into this where you want, that we understand the fruit of the Spirit to be love, joy, peace, long-suffering, which is patience for endurance, gentleness, goodness, meekness, faith, self-control.
Right.
These attributes in the modern day world are fruits of suspicion.
It is.
And imagine that we have turned the things that would make the world better into tools of suspicion, which then makes us suspicious of the person that created them, i.e.
Yeah.
So I can almost understand why the world is the way it is. So when you sit there and you say, well, no, me saying good morning to a person was just...
Yeah, very, very natural. In fact, within that culture, it would be a crime to pass somebody and not say good morning to them. And if it's somebody who is young and beautiful, then you have to have a bit more than that. It's expected. You have to.
Dad, I don't know if it's expected.
It is seriously.
Okay.
It is experienced. And perhaps one day when you go down there,
when I go down where?
To Jamaica.
Dad, I've been down there.
No. You only visit under very heavy protection of grandparents and everybody else.
Dad, firstly, I was burying one of my grandparents. 2, don't forget the lovely ladies at American Airlines didn't even want to let me in with my trainers as far as she was concerned. How can I be going to a funeral with them? They're trainer there and I'm a bug. And thirdly, Dad, when we had like the pre-service gathering, Dad, that thing spilled out of the house.
Of course. Yes.
And all the way up the hill.
Yeah. But that was too much for you to handle. So it's like too much to pick, choose and refuse. So
choose and refuse.
Pick it.
You are a different guy. Anyway, don't let me derail what you're saying.
Of course, the brothers were all around you anyhow. So there you go. But in general, that is what is expected. So you come into England, we know is the absolute reverse.
Opposite, yeah.
You know, if you see somebody, like in the case of a girl that you feel some level of attraction to, you know, you watch other young men who are born here and they go up to them, okay, can I invite you to the beaches? See, that would never be done like that in my culture. You know what I mean? That would be obnoxious, in fact.
Yeah.
You know, you just walk up to a girl and just say, can I invite you to the picture? Can I buy you chips? You know, in a newspaper. That's not done.
Okay.
You know. So you would have to go through the process of wooing her, and with the best lyrics that you can come up with. You know, and so like you didn't have much problem because you can sing. So
firstly, why are you bringing me into your mix-up?
So, but that was it. So manning up it cuts across so many boundaries, and then you have the fact that because where you grew up, you have space to move around. You know, whether it's going up to this town center or going to the field, you have it. Coming to England, you didn't have that. Yeah. You have a little patch at the back of your house, and that was the extent of your movement, unless you're going to go to the park. And of course, we didn't have park to go to, even in Jamaica, you know, because you don't have them. You got farms, and so, you know, going there and, as I said, learning the culture. I remember going to the park when mother let me out a couple of times to go to the park. Sound like a dog, don't it?
A little bit.
So, go on, exactly. So I go up to the park and, you know, walking around all by myself, and then I saw this gentleman came, and he said hello, and I think, okay, he's a nice man. He's very courteous, I thought. So I said hello, and so I began to talk. But his argument was sort of veering off to some kind of extreme situation.
I can imagine.
So when I went home, I said to him, I said, Mom, I met this gentleman at the park, and, you know, this was what he was saying. And so Mom said, you're not going back up there. You know, I think, why? She said that is not what you consider to be.
So he's a person that took a liking to you that you didn't want to take a liking to.
Simply, I didn't know exactly, because, you know, back where you come from,
that is hidden.
It is absolutely unheard of.
I wanted to ask you a question. Was there ever a time in your life where you felt like you had to hide what you were truly feeling?
Yes, I think there are many times you have to do that. One, I think, because you're heavily influenced by your culture.
Right.
And within our culture in particular.
Strength is a massive thing.
It is a massive thing.
Or there are things perceived to be strength.
To be strength, yes. And so we grew up from young with the notion that you don't show weaknesses, you don't show failure. In fact, I can't even remember many people, apart from the few you see on the street, have any such thing as mental issues. Right. Right. Yeah. It does not, you know.
Or even our understanding of it would be akin to a person whose life has spiraled so far out of control that now that this is the...
they get to that extreme. So it is the normal and expectation that as a young man, as a man especially, the man factor, you must be strong and don't show too much sense of weakness in any way, shape, or form. That's why it's rare to see, for example, Jamaican, it's probably because that's where I'm from, so crying.
It's funny you say that, because in my nearly 4 decades of life, never seen you cry.
Indeed, so.
And it also bothers me the amount of people that say to me, I've never seen you cry. And my first question is, why do you need to see me cry? You little
Exactly.
weirdo. Like, what's that got to do with you and anything else? And the reason why I say that is that even like, obviously, we are dealing with the passing of my uncle, my mum's baby brother, and her, her sibling's baby brother. And Dad, I watched a lot of grief.
Indeed.
And to an extent, I felt and watched a whole city grieve for a person. Anybody that managed to come to his homegoing service, firstly, 10 minutes before we started, we were looking for more chairs to put out. And then when we couldn't find any more chairs to put out, Dad, people were backed up out into the car park.
Yes.
I've seen people retrospectively who told me, oh yeah, I was at the funeral. And I was like, where? And they're like, oh, well, we couldn't get into the church, so we were. And Dad, I saw a lot of people who, many people that are local to our area wouldn't expect those people to be crying or shedding tears. But it was very interesting to me the amount of people who seemed to be slightly concerned by my lack to them of showing
that external emotion.
And obviously a lot of how I am is modeled off of you, because I think you've given me great reflections to model off and to build. And nobody's perfect, so there's things that obviously you amend and so forth. But one of the things I always admired about you was that it's not that you wouldn't feel, but you were never into that public grieving thing where you're all laid out on the floor and snotting on yourself and rolling around. No, because I know some people like that. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like you. I'd rather take myself away. And then if I have to be broken for a couple of days, then me and God, we're gonna hang out and I'm gonna be broken. I might phone you because we're...
Yeah. And it's never really days, it's hours. I think, we
don't ever
we
get
quickly,
time for days.
you quickly got to recompose and
spin it around.
Yes, and sort of, because that's just the nature. So that is one of the things. So you have to be very close to someone for them to pour out their hurt.
Do you think a lot of men lack that in their lifetime?
Yes, they do. Isolation brings out a lot of mental problem and trauma.
Say that one more time, that's amazing.
Isolation brings out a lot of mental pressure, and because that is one of the things. When you don't publicly, you're not encouraged to publicly display your emotion, then it has to take on, you got to have an outlet, but in a different environment that doesn't double stress you. Because for us, if you have a private place to go and be emotional, great. But imagine if you do it in public, when you then see everybody thinking, oh my goodness, it must be bad for him to be showing his emotion in public that way. So isolation is one of the things that really affects men. The other thing I believe that affects them is aging. A lot of men worries about that.
What are some of the things that become prevalent in the mind of a man that knows that he's moving through the seasons, Dad?
If he hasn't got resources,
wow,
it's a major stress factor. And he will either turn to things that sort of numb his whole consciousness of his situation.
So that's where you'll see people that maybe will start to excessively drink, or they will excessively lean into negative habits, and then you see kind of alcohol and drug abuse and other bits.
Absolutely. So,
and also maybe mental abuse, the expression of mental, you all of a sudden your environment becomes something that you're in conflict with.
And when you don't have anyone to share that with, then it can have traumatic impact on most men. And I think is what is happening to a lot of men in this environment, or what I call the European environment, because most people grew up being literally, well, not taught, but it is accepted that you keep to yourself and don't disturb your neighbor, don't do that. And so as they get older and they find certain things they're not able to meet certain demands, then it really impacts on them in a big way. Because sometimes you walk along the street and you will see people and you can discern, that they are in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you want to go up to them and say, something to them, but it's almost, you're in a culture where it's not done. You don't do that. So unless you create an atmosphere where you can break that perception. And one of my way of doing that is I would say something that they are not expecting.
Yes.
For example, two builders, carpenters rather, came to my office. And these guys have never seen me before. They've never seen me before. Yeah. And as they opened the door, I just, with a frown face, "You two doesn't look happy to see me." And
it breaks the ice.
The shock of it.
Of course it does.
They just burst out laughing. Saying, "Okay, they were coming in." And immediately, now, if it was a situation where I wanted now to engage them by whatever I'm discerning,
the door's open.
Then the door is open. They see that friendliness about it. And I find that with you on people, where when we go out, people just, I don't know, they just look at you and they just feel this element of attraction.
I always think they want to get to you, and I'm like, no, it's like any great restaurant. You're not just going to go to your table. There'll be a host guy that you'll be like, okay, cool, I need to be kind of cool with him because he has the ability to make my night or break my night. He could put me right next to the toilet, or he can put me where the thing is. So honestly, sometimes, and I don't mind because I don't mind being your wingman. It's cool. And I get a lot of people, firstly,
reflecting it to me.
I'm not reflecting you. Let me tell you why. Because you're not with me when I'm getting stopped every 2 seconds. People are like, that podcast with your dad, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, your dad, he just looks so huggable, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, I could just listen to your dad for hours, blah, 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 blah. So you sit here, and the 1 and 2 times where we might be together and someone's like, oh, Shean, da, 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 da. Listen, those 1 and 2 times compared to 1 million, 2 million times I've got to deal with people going, I just want to hug your dad. And I'm like, you realize that's weird, right? I don't come up to you and go, I just want to hug your mum. You'd be like, well, you want to hug my mum for? You don't hug my mum. So it's your fault.